In the last episode, I said that even hardcore liberals know the truth about gender issues. They know that this is not a 6-year-old girl. But the difference between liberals and conservatives is that liberals are willing to pretend that they don't know, out of an imbalanced sense of compassion. I'm going to play a clip right now that proves this point.
To Emma, hi. You're neither male nor female, right?
That's true. I identify as non-binary, which means that I'm neither male nor female, and correspondent to that, I use the they, them pronoun.
And what about people who are non-binary? What about people who are gender fluid?
We're all male and female. We've always... Yes, of course, we're all male and female. There are
what about transgender people?
There are a tiny minority of people who have intersex conditions, and there are a tiny minority of people who have some condition where they may have a female brain and a male body. Apart from this, we are all male and female, and the attempt to suggest that there is a third gender is, as far as I'm concerned, it's an ideological and a political project. It doesn't exist. The words male and female have existed throughout history, throughout the world. They refer, men are people who have penises, women are people who have vaginas. It's as simple as that. I would absolutely refuse to refer to this woman here, who's clearly a woman, as a they, because for me that would be imposing an ideological political system. Because she is. If everybody watching this programme can see that she is a woman.
The idea that you're saying that if this person chooses to say that they are they, that you can't engage with that because of your belief system. We live in a culture where lots of people have lots of different beliefs, as is very, very clear on today's show. We cannot say, I have this belief system, so therefore I'm going to impose it on everyone. You can't do that. Like, she has a particular...
So a woman pretends that she isn't a woman and wants all of society to play along with their fantasy that she's neither male or female. The conservative won't play along with this because the conservative believes that reality matters and truth matters. But the liberal is willing to play along. The liberal knows the truth just as well as the conservative does, as is evidenced by the slip of the tongue. She used the pronoun she by mistake. So the question then becomes, why are you pretending that you don't know the answer to this? Why are you choosing to indulge this woman's fantasies when it's clear and obvious what she is? And the answer is out of a misplaced, overpowered, imbalanced sense of compassion. She is worried that if she doesn't play along with this woman's fantasy, she's going to feel upset and marginalized and excluded, and so she's willing to jettison the truth and pretend that she doesn't know what it is. And so we have this mechanism where liberals are deliberately choosing foolishness and playing a society-wide game of let's pretend, essentially. If there's an area of life that demonstrates this mechanism most clearly, this refusal to acknowledge truth in case it offends someone, it could be in regard to mathematics and the sciences, because in no other disciplines are you so clearly dealing in hard facts and logic. After all, when you add 2 plus 2 together, there can be no other answer than 4. 2 plus 2 equals 4. There's no other way around it. Or is there? This idea of absolute right and wrong bothers the liberal. I mean, what if a student gives the answer as 18 or 742? And what if we then have to tell that student that they're wrong? That student would feel upset, their feelings would be hurt, and worst of all, there would then be inequality in the classroom because some would get the answer right, others would get it wrong, so some students would be considered better at mathematics than others. We don't want that kind of inequality, we don't want it. So how do we solve this issue? I know, thinks the liberal. Maybe we just do away with the idea of mathematical truth altogether. Maybe we just get rid of the idea that there are right and wrong answers. Maybe we just let 2 plus 2 be whatever the student wants it to be or feels it should be. That way everyone feels good about themselves and everyone feels equal. Too far-fetched? Well, quite astonishingly, the Oregon Department of Education, or ODE, released a document recently where they called for a move towards what they called equitable math. Essentially, this means pushing truth to the side and simply focusing on making students feel good about themselves and making them feel equal. Therefore, if one student feels that 2 plus 2 equals 4, then that's fine. But if another student feels that the answer is 18, that's okay too. The ODE said, upholding the idea that there are always right and wrong answers perpetuates objectivity, and of course the liberals do not want objectivity. This idea of equitable math is gaining traction as well. Back in 2018, educator Rochelle Gutierrez, whose speciality is equity issues in mathematical education, gave a keynote speech called Mathematics with an X, Towards a Way of Being, at an educators conference in India. She said, "To reconceptualize what mathematics is and how it is practiced, I argue for a movement against objects, truth, and knowledge." Now hang on a second. A mathematics teacher openly stating at a global educators conference that she wants to argue against truth and against knowledge. This is a teacher saying this. I get hateful of truth and knowledge. A teacher hateful of truth and knowledge, as though those are bad things. Now, what is happening here? Well, welcome to the soft trench. People are becoming so hateful of the truth that they are actively choosing ignorance. They are choosing to know nothing, as though that's a more righteous path. They want a movement against knowledge, lest that knowledge create inequality. That's how far into this trench we now are. Another teacher and PhD student, Brittany Marshall, gained a lot of attention on Twitter in 2021 for voicing her belief that 2 + 2 needn't equal 4. She said, "Nope, the idea of 2 + 2 equaling 4 is cultural, and because of Western imperialism/colonization, we think of it as the only way of knowing." Now, although this is a ludicrous and historically illiterate statement because mathematics goes back thousands of years BC, what became clear through the ensuing debate on Twitter was that she actually had a lot of supporters for this nonsense. There are genuinely a lot of people in key educational positions today, teachers and policy setters, who would like to move away from the idea of truth and knowledge, and again, driven by this mistaken ideology that says equality and kindness is the only thing that counts. Now, of course, sensible people view these developments with utter bafflement. How on earth can it be that Western civilization, we who went through the Enlightenment, have suddenly lost our minds like this, to the extent that educators, policymakers, thought leaders, government officials have become openly hateful of truth and knowledge, openly hateful of truth and knowledge? Well, I hope this series is beginning to bring some clarity. The great idea of our age, held by those in the most important areas of power, is that utopia will be built when there's equality, unity, and peace, and since truth by its very nature brings inequality, arguments, and division, we have to jettison the very notion of it. Our fixation upon the soft virtues in this age is causing us to become anti-truth, anti-intellectual, anti-knowledge. And for this reason, it's accurate to call the postmodern age the post-truth age. That's a phrase that's kind of been going around a lot recently, and I would agree with it. We are living in the post-truth age. But remember, while you can ignore the facts for a while, you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring facts. You can teach the next generation that 2 + 2 needn't equal 4 if you want, but there will be consequences for that further down the line for not teaching your children basic numeracy. Imagine in the future if an engineering company is tasked with building a bridge and all of these students are now adults and are entering the workforce. One recruit thinks that 2 + 2 equals 18, another thinks it's 742, another thinks it's -6. Would it matter then whether those students are now feeling loved and accepted? Well, not so much. What would really matter then is that they know how to count so that they build that bridge properly and it stays built and doesn't fall down again. That's what really counts. If we stop teaching our children basic literacy and numeracy, we are failing to prepare them for the very real world ahead. And again, our intended love will become unloving. And what's more, there will be consequences.